Yeah, happy Friday and welcome back to DEGREELESSNESS, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Help Me I Am in Hell show. I'm your host, Shanghai Pete, the People's Champion, high-tech lowlife, your good buddy in the mix, and of course, trusted member of the media. We've got some serious matters to delve into this week, so let's move along and get deep like a baby seal. Just time for a quick recap of the week, and perhaps the most interesting thing I saw was this. Yep, that's right, far from being done with remakes, looks like Capcom is going even harder with them. On one hand, it's kinda hard to argue against this since so far they've only really fucked up once with Resident Evil 3. Even if the remakes of 2 and 4 weren't personally your jam, they certainly weren't bad. I'd be the first one to tear them apart if I thought they were, but the truth is they really weren't, they were fine. And in some cases, even very good. So okay, Capcom, looks like we're going deep with this remake thing. I suppose I can't be surprised by this. They found a new revenue vector that's been working, and they're doubling the fuck down on it. Surprise, surprise. I think it's because in a lot of ways, it's fucking safe. They're once again running out of ideas for new games, and fiscally speaking, it's far smarter for them to just remake something that's already been proven and well received in the market, as opposed to trying some unknown and doing Resident Evil 9. If we're going to indulge them, there's really only one right answer here, and that's Resident Evil 1. We've already done 2, 3, and 4. 5 and 6 are so bad that I've never wanted to hear from them again after the first time I played them, and even that might have been too much. Obviously, we don't need a remake of 7 or 8 yet, and I'm not going to do 0 or any of the Revelations games the courtesy of even including them in this conversation. So, it's got to be number 1. Many people, of course, bring up the fact that number 1 has already gotten a few remakes, the most notable ones being the DS version and the GameCube version. GameCube version is fucking incredible, as we all know. But if we have to choose, I could probably fuck with a version of it in first person or maybe with the over-the-shoulder camera and fully rendered environment style. I think they could also just, leave it the fuck alone, but looks like that's no longer an option. And don't even mention Code Veronica, please. Go listen to our podcast episode about Resident Evil if you don't understand why, or ask yourself how long it's been since you've actually played it and notice that the answer is at least 10 years ago. So if we have to get one, I'm going to say number 1, no question. What do you guys think though? If we're forced to get another Resident Evil remake, which one do you want? Next up, we do need to mention Diablo 4. That's right, Diablo 4 launched yesterday for anyone willing to pay an additional $30 to play it 6 days early, and, well, rather I should say it was supposed to launch yesterday. I remember during the beta, and I was all like, yo, this is a disaster. The servers are going to be a clusterfuck when this finally launches. And then people were like, you're a fucking idiot. I love Blizzard, and they never do anything wrong, and you're out of line for thinking there's going to be a problem with the launch. Well, is this an appropriate time to say I told you so, or nah? Corpo agreed, sloppy, low-effort prep and minimum viable product design win the day again. If only we were surprised. If anyone pre-ordered and managed to get in, let us know in the comments. Hope it wasn't too bad for you guys. Moving on, our main story of the week is that motherfucking Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, Metal Gear Solid Delta. As I'm sure will surprise none of you, I was not very optimistic in my prognosis of it. However, we do have an interest in being fair here, and a lot more info has come to light since last week's episode, so I thought it'd be helpful to go over that today. The first thing we've got is this message from the quote-unquote dev team. Let's take a look. Nothing quite so confidence-inducing like a display of sincerity signed by an anonymous dev team. Great! Well, we're definitely off to a good start. I'm not going to read this whole thing aloud. You can pause the video if you want to. Suffice to say, they're just desperately promising that, no, really, we promise it'll be good. Trust us. I know we're Konami, but please, we need the money. Yeah, from behind a veil of anonymity, that's not very encouraging. This doesn't mean anything. No one was even willing to put their name or any name to this. Many people, in fact, have been wondering, well, who even is this development team? And aside from saying that it's an internal team, they haven't provided any additional info. And you know what that means. That means that the info they do have, it's not good. If they had anything that was, you can bet your ass they'd be in a real hurry to tell everybody and certainly would not be hiding it. But they're not. Remember guys, the last time this company released anything with MGS on it, it was a pachinko machine. And before that, Metal Gear Survive. So anyone saying we have no reason to be at least concerned is out of their fucking mind. The only other info we got from this was that in addition to Konami's internal team, the other guys helping are from a dev called Virtuos. If you're asking who the fuck they are, well, you're not alone. According to Wikipedia, they're responsible for, most notably, the Nier Automata port for Switch, which was exceptionally good, and the Outer Worlds remaster port, which was very much not. Not really the kind of resume you'd imagine would be required to land the job of remaking one of the greatest games of all time, but hey, maybe they'll knock it out of the park, who knows. Overall, though, I'd rate the impact of this news as pretty low. Next up, we do have the confirmation that neither Hideo Kojima or Yoshi Shinkawa will be involved in any way, shape, or form with this. I don't think that'll come as shocking news to anyone, but I do have to hand it to the boys over at Konami Development Team for having the sack to be upfront and straightforward about that. You were asked, you knew straight up that no one was going to like the answer, and you gave it anyway. That takes balls, we can at least acknowledge that. Good job, boys. They go on to further offer this rather bizarre bit that I'm guessing is supposed to be comforting in some way, yet manages to do the exact opposite. Right after confirming the non-involvement of the only two people anyone cares about, they say, however, the development team will work hard to create this remake so that it can be enjoyed on multiple platforms by even more players around the world. Wait, what? No one was talking about multiple platforms or increasing the audience. I'm sure that's part of the goal, at least for the collection, but what does it have to do with the non-involvement of Kojima and Shinkawa? They didn't even say it'll be good. Like, do you guys not know how to defend your product? Do you care? We'll probably never know. Overall impact of confirming Hideo Kojima and Yoshi Shinkawa will not be involved. Again, very low. We knew this already. Does it serve to only further reduce the legitimacy and credibility of this remake, though? Yeah, absolutely. Moving on, we next must talk about the voice lines and cast. First, we heard that the remake would star the original voice cast. Okay, great, but that could mean many different things. Are they re-recording the exact script with the same actors? Are they recording new dialogue with the same actors? Are they perhaps doing both? And what about fucking Kiefer, by the way? He's not anywhere near this, is he? Fortunately, those questions all now have been answered thanks mostly to this article from The Verge. According to Tommy Williams, Konami's head of communications for the Americas, Metal Gear Solid Delta will reuse the voice lines from the original game with no changes. Just give everybody a moment here to breathe a sigh of relief. Thank fucking God. Here's our first bit of solid good news. We know that without Kojima and the rest of the original cast and team, it simply would not have been possible to add any new work of any merit to this. Metal Gear without Kojima has been tried a few times at this point, all to varying degrees of catastrophic failure. The only chance Konami has of not thoroughly botching this and burning what remains of their pathetic brand straight to the ground is if they stick to updating the assets and touch absolutely nothing else. Don't even remaster the music. Don't fucking touch anything. You can't handle it. You know that. We know that. So just stop. Put down the Metal Gear Solid and slowly back away. All right? Overall impact of this is actually pretty big and overall great news. Don't change what you don't have to, please. Lastly, we do have some official screenshots from Konami to go over. First up, we've got this scene where you start the game. Snake finishes his elegant Halo jump like a true champion and gets his pack caught up in a branch. Awesome. There's not really much to say about this one. They've done the bare minimum in getting the actual physical location largely correct. It's about as photorealistic as you would expect from a game in this generation, and it's definitely a jungle. Great work, I guess. Next up, we have a fine example of an alligator by a small pond. I don't think there's any evidence to confirm exactly which screen this is. Some people seem to think it's the second right after you retrieve your backpack, but who knows, and honestly, who cares? It could really be from any game, and I get the distinct feeling that that's on purpose, and they're kind of playing a little safe here. Does it look good? I mean, yeah, it looks good the way any swamp and alligator rendered in an Unreal Engine or something similar in 2023 ought to look. That's fine, you know? Great job. Moving along, we have this nice shot of a guard in another open area of the jungle. Consensus seems to be that this is Dramuchi North, whatever. This is doing a decent job of being faithful to the original source material with many assets literally in the same position so far, and that's certainly encouraging. Following that, we've got a shot of the classic rope bridge after Dol Navodno, where the boss beats the shit out of Snake for the first time, so far so good, I have to say. It looks just like it's a bridge. We also got a shot of Razvet where you encounter Sokolov. Again, the architecture, layout, and asset placement all appear to be spot on. Not blown away or anything, but again, mere competence is the goal here, and I think they're hitting it so far. And finally, we've got yet another image of a swamp, presumably after the start of Operation Snake Eater and just past Razvet. Decent shots of the first 6 or so areas, I'd say. Overall impact here is not huge, but it's good evidence, at least so far, that the team building this is at the very least capable of recreating some of the game's areas with a relatively high degree of competency and accuracy. By no means a reason to start throwing a fucking party or do any knob slobbing, but between these shots and the news that we're getting the original voice performances and audio, I'm starting to feel little optimistic, maybe? In any case, that is our show. Thank you so much for chilling with us tonight. Spend this little bit of your free time here. I'm trying to keep an open mind desperately, but when you're up against the track record of a company like Konami, what hope can there really be? I don't know, you tell me. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Try to convince me this will be awesome. And in the meantime, know that we love you today. We love you all the way, and we'll catch you next week for even more corpo capers and impish industry blaspheming.
Woke up, smoke up, blunt, then I pass out. Pass out. Woke up, what up, smoke up, blunt, then I'm back down. Back down. What? Woke up, smoke up, blunt, then I pass out. Pass out. Woke up, what up, smoke up, blunt, then I'm